Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. My name is Derek DeBurger. With me, as always, is Sam Roth.
How are we doing, guys?
I say that. I feel like I've said this before. I say that like you're just the guest.
Yep.
Like I'm the main attraction.
You're the host.
You're the guy.
I'm just here sometimes.
It's both of us.
Well, here we are.
Well, anyway, we both talk about conference moving day. That's right.
Happened yesterday.
That's right.
It's official. Everything's changed.
It just means more.
Mm.
We also talk about the NBA draft, our reactions to that. We talk about Kyle Filipowski. Ooh.
And also talk about Kyle Whittingham.
It's true. We talk about Kyle Whittingham. We talk about Jim Schlossnagle, even though we're late on that. And then we talk about teams this upcoming season for football that are getting a lot of hype and whether we believe that hype or not.
Is it real or fake?
Yes. And then
Also,
at the end, he tests how much of a gamer I am.
Not really. Just want to see if you agree with how they're ranking the teams in college football.
In
25.
EA football 25. Because they can't call it NCAA football.
No.
All right. Well, that's our episode. Hope you like and subscribe. Because I think it helps us.
Oh, it most definitely does.
I've heard. Yeah, and we hope you stick around to the video. Buddy, welcome back to the College Town Podcast. It's Derek and Sam. Derek DeBurger, Sam Roth.
How are we doing, guys?
Well, it happened.
It's official.
Moving day was upon us. It was yesterday as of recording and when this episode will come out. And everyone's in their new conferences.
They are.
Everyone's moved. Everyone packed up all their stuff.
Yeah.
They turned out the lights in the bar one last time.
They sure did.
You ever seen Cheers?
Huh?
You ever seen Cheers?
I've seen clips.
It's a very funny show.
I bet it is.
And from a nerd perspective, very well written and
Oh,
directed.
there you go.
Moving on, because that's not what we talk about.
Imagine.
No, everyone's in their new conference. Texas and Oklahoma, who started the whole thing.
Are in the SEC now.
Yes, I forgot to silence my phone. The amount of times I do that in the beginning of an episode.
Oh, man.
Anyway. Yeah. And then, you got the whole Stanford Cal, SMU to the ACC.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Of course it does. Atlantic Coast Conference is now in the Pacific.
And then it's the All Coast Conference, baby.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other West Coast teams going to the Big Ten.
Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of smaller conference movement.
Oh, dabbles into the Big 12.
There's a ton of smaller conference movement.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's the end is nigh. I don't know what to say.
There it is.
Yeah,
this is the new normal.
Yeah. Just a quick exercise.
Go for it.
Who do you think moving into a new conference is going to have the best inaugural season?
In just one sport or all overall sports?
Football.
Football, Oregon.
I agree.
It's going to be Oregon.
I think Oregon's going to win the Big Ten.
I would have them 1 or 2.
Yeah. Oh, for sure they're top 2, I think.
Yeah, they're top 2.
I think they're going to win the Big Ten.
Mm.
Their toughest game is Ohio State. And it's in Autzen.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I would say it's Oregon for football.
Yeah.
What about for basketball?
For basketball, that's a good question.
Who does the best moving in?
Let me think.
Does Texas turn it on for the SEC? Does UCLA make Cronin figure it out in the Big Ten?
I feel like for basketball, there's 3 candidates.
Let's hear him.
You mentioned them. Texas, UCLA, and Colorado.
Really? Colorado's interesting. They lost a lot.
They lost a lot.
And they barely made the tournament.
Yeah, but Tad Boyle's a very good coach.
Okay.
And also,
Big 12's a hard conference, too.
Yeah, but what they've been doing, they did this for years with the Big Ten, and then they've just shifted. Now it's the Big 12 that they want to do it with. But there's always a conference that the committee just wants to jam as many teams from in as possible. For a long time, it was the Big East. Then it became the Big Ten. Now it's the Big 12.
Well, to be fair, the Big 12 played close games and was good basketball last year.
No, it had good teams. I just think it was overrated. Slightly.
Really?
Slightly. I was about to say actually it's the SEC, but I think the Big 12 and the SEC had the same number of teams last year. And the SEC just completely fell apart in the tournament.
Yeah, they did.
Aside from Alabama, They
Yeah.
just completely fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think Tad Boyle is a very good coach. I think he's an underrated coach, and especially with how they've been so favorable towards the Big 12 in recent years, I could really see Colorado having a very good year in basketball.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think the Big 10 sucks, and Mick Cronin plays exactly that style, so UCLA could have a very good year. I like UCLA's transfer class a lot.
Yeah.
And then Texas, I don't know. They brought... Okay, so I was pretty low on Texas until, like, yesterday when they brought in Arthur Kaluma.
Oh, okay.
I still don't necessarily know in my mind. I think they're going to be preseason top 25, but in my mind, I don't know if they're a top 25 team.
Huh.
And I still don't know what to think about Rodney Terry, because year one of Rodney Terry, I was like, oh, this guy is fantastic coach. He stepped in, and there was no drop-off. And then last year, when I was expecting a lot, after, not an exaggeration, after the first week of the season, I was like, they're not good.
No.
They're not very good.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know what to expect with Texas. Moving on. Unless you want to throw your 2 cents in for basketball.
No. I think it was a very good 2 cents you had there. I mean, yeah, Texas is a question mark, but I mean, like, as far as like the SEC goes in basketball, Alabama, Kentucky's got a big question mark now. See what Arkansas does now with a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee will be consistent, but lost a lot.
Yeah, Tennessee's not going to be the same team they have in the last 2 years.
It really is just giving that it's with Mark Sears coming back to Alabama. It really just seems like it's Alabama's to run the table again this year.
Yeah, and then
there's
I
the
think
rest.
Auburn's going to be super good.
Is Janai Broome back?
Yep.
Or Williams is back too?
They're bringing a lot of guys back.
That would be interesting to see what they can do.
They
then
lost,
as well.
I think, their backcourt, but that backcourt was kind of the weakness of that team.
It'd be interesting. Auburn might be something. Maybe we'll see Auburn, Alabama, an Iron Bowl-ish basketball game.
Iron court.
Sure. I like it. I actually like that, but I don't even know what they call it.
Before we move on to the next thing we're going to talk about,
Right.
I've always thought about this. They have names and trophies for football rivalries.
Right.
You know, like the Iron Bowl. They've got they changed it, but people still call it Oregon State is Civil War, and they have the Platypus Trophy, which is one of the best trophies.
There's a Platypus Trophy?
You know why it's the Platypus Trophy?
What teams?
Oregon and Oregon State.
Is it a beaver and a duck, and that's like the combination of the two? Oh, there you go.
That's great, right?
That's pretty good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But so they've got all these fun names and trophies for
football games.
Football rivalries, and there are some basketball rivalries that have good names.
Right.
But why are there no trophies?
Oh.
Someone should just make a trophy, right?
Like a battle of the kegs, if you will, like Louisville and Cincinnati.
Yeah, the keg of nails. Yeah, bring out some trophy. Be like, haha, we beat you, Kansas. We're Missouri, or what,
Right. And then you just have it for the year, and then it goes back to the game.
Yeah, and then it
whoever wins
inevitably
takes
goes
it
back
home.
to Kansas when Kansas dominates Missouri because they're not good at basketball anymore.
Oh, it's basketball. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know that's a big rivalry, Kansas, Missouri.
I could see it. Yeah, that makes sense. But
Kansas doesn't have any huge rivals.
Oh, so they just have to make one with Missouri?
Missouri and Kansas State are kind of their biggest rivals, and they don't really care about either of those two that much.
Right.
So I just think it's interesting. They're one of the blue bloods, and they just don't have a big rival.
It is tough because, like, if you're just so dominant, or at least you don't have another dominant rival, it is hard to, like, make a rivalry out of something where you're just beating the shit out of the other team.
Yeah, but, like, let's say for, the Battle on Tobacco Road.
Okay.
Battle 4, I don't really. It's semantics.
Sure.
But let's say they bring out an encased in gold pipe. That's your trophy. Imagine Cooper Flagg hits a game winner, and then he's hoisting up the pipe afterwards.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's awesome though, right? Would that not be awesome?
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. They do it in football. Why don't they do it in basketball?
That's a great question. I don't really got a good answer for you on that.
All right. Let's move on.
It's good though.
I think the next most pressing thing is the NBA draft.
Yeah, it did happen.
It happened not a week late because we did talk about it.
Yeah.
But it happened the day after our episode last week aired.
Also, we got a little bit more info now since free agency has started. We can kind of see what the plans are with these picks.
Yeah.
Whether they're projects or immediate starters or what the plans are.
And the plan is that Bronny is going to start day one.
Is that the plan?
He's their new star.
Yeah, is that what's
They're actually
happening?
trading Anthony Davis to build around Bronny.
Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves. They already got their new nickname online. It's called the Columbine Boys because they're just shooters. I'm not joking. That's what the internet's kind of nicknamed them.
All right.
I know, right?
Austin Reeves is more than just a shooter.
Yeah.
He's.
I think the internet was just being funny with two white boys that can shoot, basically.
Yeah. And Austin Reeves also isn't like a knockdown 3-point shooter. That's kind of a.
That's your 2 cents on Austin Reeves.
Well, that's just a silly assertion that like, oh, he's just a shooter.
Well, yeah, when you see a white guy on the court, that's kind of what you immediately think.
Yeah, so doesn't make it right.
I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying that's the stereotypes that there are in basketball.
All right. Well, another white boy, Reed Shepherd, was the first pick from college.
From college, yes.
Yes, not overall.
Because we don't cover
Risa Shea.
Or Alexander Sarr.
Yeah. But he was the first pick from college, and then Stephon Castle to my Spurs. Let's go.
Sure, and then Rob Dillingham to your Spurs, traded subsequently to the Timberwolves.
Yep.
What do you think of that?
Got 2 first-round picks out of it.
There you go.
I mean, if you're the Spurs, you don't like anyone in the
draft, trade it?
Yeah, if you really don't like this draft, just dump the picks. Who cares?
All right. And then, what's your most intriguing pick you had?
I mean, Edey going top 10.
I was going to say that too. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. I think so. The talk leading up to was that the Grizzlies were like, "Oh, we want Donovan Clingan. We want him bad."
Yeah.
But I don't know if they were willing to trade up to get him. And so when Clingan went at 7,
and they were at 9.
Yeah, I think they were like, "Well, let's just get Edey." I think they wanted a guy to start at center immediately.
I just wonder if Ware would have been a better option from Indiana. How do you say his name? Khalil? Khalil. Yeah, it's Khalil. Khalil Ware. I wonder if he would have been a better option over Edey. I mean, don't get me wrong. Edey strikes me as the type of guy, and we've been talking about it since college basketball has been around, of us covering.
Yeah. Since last season started.
Right, basically, of that. We just don't see how Edey's game translates to the NBA. And the fact that he went...
I don't think he's going to be a star by any means.
No, but I mean, like...
I just think he'll be a contributor.
It's very hard, like, as far as guys who play back to the basket and are big facilitators, they have elite playmaking skills. Guys who do that. Isaiah Hartenstein, Bam Adebayo, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic. I mean, those are the very elite of elite guys. Yeah. Or you have guys who... translate their game where they used to be back to basket, now they can knock down threes. Think of like an Al Horford.
Brooke Lopez.
Right, exactly. Those guys were able to translate. Edey is neither of those.
ACC legend Brooke Lopez.
Stanford, I like that.
Yeah.
It was a good connection.
No, I mean, you're right. He's a very skilled low post player, but he doesn't have those other skills, and he's not a knockdown shooter.
Unless you're able to pick the ball up in the key and facilitate, or be able to knock down a 3 and spread the floor. Offensively, I don't understand how this works for the Grizzlies. I understand the move to get a big in there to protect Jaren Jackson and move him to a 4. I get that. But I just don't understand how Edey's game necessarily will fit unless you're planning to make it work around him.
I think what it is that they traded Steven Adams.
Yeah.
And I think they regretted that.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like, let's just get another big body. And they got Edey.
I mean, they got the biggest body they could.
They sure did.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think Edey's going to flame out in the NBA. I really don't. I mean, I think that he will. I don't think he's going to light the world on fire, but I think he's going to be a solid contributor.
I just look at it from this perspective. If Luke Garza is going to be a 2-time G League Player of the Year and barely get minutes in the NBA, what makes Edie that much different to a Luke Garza? Just a dominant big that can go get a bucket. Like
he's got like what 5 inches on him.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think like as far as their game goes, excluding their height, I don't see that too big of a difference. Because Luke Garza was dominant. Same with like Kofi Cockburn. Like those guys are just not getting minutes in the NBA. Great bigs in college, but just their games just do not translate.
Yeah. I just think that I think Edie has the athleticism. I think sneakily, I think he does.
Really?
Well, at the combine, he tested very, very similar. Like in the
to Klingon or something?
Yeah, to Klingon.
Really?
And everyone was saying, myself included, I'm someone who said this. Klingon is a more athletic center,
right?
Than Edie, and I still think he is, but it's not like Klingon was so much more athletic. Edie was pretty close to him. He was pretty comparable. I think the only thing about Edie is that he never had that like long like stamina. You know, like he doesn't have big lungs. He wasn't like running up and down the court.
It's getting up and down the court. Yeah.
Yeah. Purdue
in the pace of play.
Outside of the year that they had Jaden Ivey, Purdue played pretty slow.
They played like a half-court offense.
Yeah.
Slow it down, bring the ball up,
and so
run your set.
Yeah.
With your 7'4" guy.
And so, I just think that's what Edie needs to do. Is he just needs to be able to run the whole game.
Yeah.
Because I think he can. He just didn't.
You really think he can do that?
Yeah.
With more minutes now too.
I think he has to. I think he just has to work on that. I think that cardio is something that you just do. You know.
He doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to be able to consistently get 30 minutes a game. Like he's going to be a rotational piece where he's going to get 25 and the other center is going to get what, like 23? Like I honestly believe that.
I could see that too.
Right. I mean like he might be good for like 20, 25 minutes. I don't see him being able to do a Tom Thibodeau 40. I mean, to be fair, Tom Thibodeau didn't even run his centers 40 minutes. But that's still.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't necessarily think he's going to be a 40-minute game player either.
No, not
but
at all.
You don't ask him to be.
No. I don't think anyone's going to ask him to be either.
Yeah, I think he'll do fine.
Is there any other intriguing picks for you other than Edie?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Dalton Connect for a little bit. One of the Columbine shooters. He slid. He went to 17.
Yeah.
And then Bronny James.
I think the nepotism has already been talked about enough in the media.
Yeah.
Where we don't really need to cover it.
Yeah. But no, that's it. I think that's... Oh, Kyle Filipowski. Forgot about Kyle Filipowski.
Well, he slipped all the way to the second round.
Yeah.
I don't even know. He went to Utah. That's where he went.
He went to Utah.
All right, so we do got to talk about this just because it's unfortunate, but it's... I don't know how to explain the story in proper terms.
So basically, he's actively being groomed.
Yes.
And by the way, people have gone back and like found this girl and like figured out like when did she graduate from college.
Oh yeah.
She's at the youngest, she's 28 years old right now.
Oh, I thought she was like 6 years older than him.
No. She's at least 8 years older than him.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Well, to give you guys an idea about the story that we're going to be talking about, Kyle Filipowski is currently dating. What's her name? Do we even have a name?
I have no clue.
Well, his current girlfriend used to be his babysitter. That is correct, folks.
It's every child's fantasy.
Oh my God, my babysitter's so hot. Well, guess what? She likes you too. It just turns out you guys are 8 years apart. And
they started dating when they were when Kyle Filipowski was 16.
16.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because there's a picture of him at his prom.
I thought that was senior prom.
Yeah, but it was confirmed that he was 17, and there was an original. This is the investigation.
God.
There was an original caption of that the caption has since been deleted. That said like 1 year with her or something along those lines.
Brother.
Which means
that has
16.
to be why he fell.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
basically,
mean, he interviewed in the interviews. People were saying that, like, whenever they would ask questions about his girlfriend, he was just super weird about it.
well, yeah.
And that's what made him fail. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's specifically the reason that was given. They're like, no, we don't want to draft this guy.
It makes so much sense why he went to Utah. Okay, but what makes it even worse, or don't mean to hate, but I am going to hate. So I actually do mean to hate. But
Okay.
his girlfriend's Mormon.
Yeah.
She's a member of the Latter-day Saints, and apparently they have been. Kyle Filipowski hasn't talked to his family in at least 2 years.
Yeah, she's definitely manipulating him.
And yeah, it's just a very unfortunate situation. And then, of course, he gets drafted to Utah, Mormon capital of the world.
That's funny. That's
I think that's just
objectively hilarious. I'm not gonna be quick to throw Mormonism into this. She's Mormon, so what?
Yeah.
I personally don't love the Mormon church. But I don't think this is because she's Mormon. I think she just happens to be a monster. And also, I've looked it up. Kyle Filipowski's from New York. The age of consent in New York is 17.
Okay.
So what she has done is committed a felony.
Oh.
And I don't think the statute of limitations is up.
Oh.
So assuming they did anything, which this is not a fun, like, because now we're talking about like statutory rape.
Yeah, it's not a fun conversation to have.
And so, like, I mean, like, I feel like what kind of gets lost in all this, just because of the craziness of the situation, is that Kyle Filipowski is a victim.
Yeah.
He's a victim of grooming and a horrible relationship.
Yeah.
And, like,
now he's going to Utah.
He's got to hope that he, I don't know, that he gets out of that.
Will he?
I don't know. There's really not much more to this.
It's just, oh my God, this is what's going on, is the reaction to all this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's very weird, because the internet is the internet, and they've kind of realized that he was in the green room, or it's not really a green room for the NBA draft. They're just on the floor of the arena.
Yeah.
But they call it a green room. And at his table, there was literally no one. Wasn't his family there, nobody. It was just him, his girlfriend, his agent, maybe a couple of friends. Wasn't really, and everyone's like, where's his family at? And then people went to Twitter, and then his family replied on Twitter is how all this kind of sparked off. Where, like, his brother was commenting, yeah, we don't like her. We haven't talked to him in a couple of years. His mom was like, yeah, this is all basically true.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And this story has stayed quiet throughout his entire collegiate career.
Yeah.
How did we have not heard about this till now?
I mean, I saw that the family blamed John Shire, the Duke coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What were they supposed to do? Like, hey, man.
I mean, it's a great question. What do you do if you see someone getting groomed? Do you say, hey, you're getting groomed? Like, I mean, honestly, like,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know either.
Cool, because just assuming if you do that, you just go to him, hey, man, you're being groomed. I don't think they're going to take that very well.
I don't think they do either. Yeah.
Well, because I think at the time, like, you know, he's 20. When you're 20, your brain is not there yet.
No, it's not.
But you feel like it is. So when you're 16, your brain is definitely not there, and you feel like it is. Mm-hmm. And so
it's just unfortunate, basically.
Yeah, that's just
In other Duke news,
yeah,
like their transition.
There's other Duke news.
Cooper Flagg got named to the Team USA for the 2024 Olympics. No, he got to the select team.
Select team?
Yes, he's not on the team.
Okay.
He's on the select team.
I know they used to pick whoever the top college player was and just throw him on the team.
No, he is not on the team. So it's the 12 that they selected. He's on the select team, which basically is like the reserves.
Okay.
And he's the first college kid to be on the reserves.
Yeah, I mean,
since it was an amateur. So like since it was like, so it's I honestly don't know this kid's game. I haven't really watched him. I've heard he's phenomenal.
I mean, it's very similar to like Chad Holmgren and
Oh.
Wemby.
Okay. Wow.
He's super tall, has ball handling skills, can shoot, good defender down low.
So he's just a 6'10" guard that can play as a big defensively. So the best
I think
of
he's
both
taller
worlds.
than 6'10". I think he's legitimately like 7 foot.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, he got selected. So apparently this kid's very, very good.
Well, also the Olympic team has a history of taking just whoever the top college player is and just kind of like throwing him on the team. Because Christian Leitner
That was
at Duke was on the '92 Dream Team.
To be fair, 32 years ago now. They don't do it since.
Anthony Davis made it.
Yeah, but Anthony Davis was like drafted. I guess yeah, fair enough. 2012.
Yeah.
So, I mean, very, very, very elite players get put on the team.
It's pretty standard practice that they take
I
the
don't-
top college player.
I don't think it happened like in 2020 or 2016.
They might not have done it recently, but
Oh, yeah.
historically it's been standard
Oh,
practice.
absolutely. I agree with what you're saying there. Historically speaking, yeah, because there's most notable ones. Could you? Because the whole '92 one was like it was between Leitner and Shaq. Could you imagine if Shaq would have made it?
Yeah, in hindsight,
instead of
they
Leitner?
probably should have put Shaq in there.
Well, to be fair, neither of them would have played.
No, but like just
Just on the optics of it, how
Yeah.
it looks.
it's Shaq.
It's a
Shaq-a-roni.
It sure is.
That's
But-
my favorite late night snack, the Shaq-a-roni. Brought to you by Papa John's.
Oh, I forgot. He's like
No, yeah, he's become their new Papa.
he's that
basically.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Papa.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Cooper Flag
Yeah.
on making the select team for the
Yeah.
being in reserves for
Which,
Paris.
because it falls in, the summer, which is the dead period, we'll probably talk about some of the Olympics.
Oh, there's the NCAA as a whole
Mm-hmm.
for the Summer Olympics produces more athletes than any other nation.
They have a lot of college athletes, too.
No, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, like foreign athletes is what I meant to say.
No, that's what I'm saying too. So like NCAA produces more athletes for the Olympics than any other nation.
Mm-hmm.
So there is going to be plenty to talk about for us during the Olympics because we're going to be covering all those phenomenal athletes that are going to be over in France.
Yeah. Girl who dumped me right before prom in high school. She dated an Olympic athlete.
Oh.
Yeah, at UK.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's from like Brazil or somewhere.
Oh. Do say.
Okay. All right.
What?
Keep it in your pants, man.
What?
I'm a catch.
I'm
Come
not
on,
saying.
don't.
What was the sport?
Swimming.
Okay. It's I'm not gonna lie, for any of us, that's very hard to beat. An Olympic athlete from Brazil who's a swimmer.
Yeah, but I bet I'm smarter than him. That's
Hey,
my counter.
it's not all about looks, man, but initial attraction does matter.
What do you mean it's not all about looks? I'm not ugly.
I'm not saying you are.
I'm not an ugly guy.
You're a fine looking fellow. How's that sound?
Thank you. Don't say it's not all about looks, buddy. Don't worry, it gets better.
I'm sorry. I would say the same thing to myself if I was going up against a Brazilian Olympic swimmer. I mean, we all know our place in this world, and I'm not Brazilian, nor are you Brazilian Olympic swimmer level. They have a 16 pack.
I think I have something else to offer to bring to the table,
Hey, no one's denying that. I'm just saying.
I can carry a stimulating conversation.
Yeah.
You want to talk about urban planning? I can do it all day long.
Good on you, man. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't get you a swipe right on Tinder.
Since when?
Since Tinder's been around, good sir.
I would push back on that one.
No, I don't think girls are on Tinder going, this guy looks like I could have a great conversation with.
I bet he could get an MUP, no problem.
Oh, my God.
You know what that is?
Nope.
Masters in Urban Planning.
No clue. Glad you filled me in on that because I'm like, okay.
I'm not ugly is the point of that.
No one said you were ugly.
I don't know. You kind of implied it.
I did not.
You want to talk about an ugly situation?
I said in terms of a Brazilian Olympic swimmer, you probably are a little bit lower than him. And
I
I
haven't
think
even seen what this guy looks like.
I don't think I really need to. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I think the physique will probably speak for itself.
Yeah, sure. I'm not. I'm built like pipe cleaner. Fine.
Hey, shout out to us.
But
I mean,
look, let's move on to an ugly situation.
What is that?
That was Jim Schlossnagle in Texas A&M.
oh yeah,
I can't believe we missed this because
it was pretty funny.
it happened the day that we recorded after we had recorded.
Dang.
Yeah.
So we're a week late to this.
Yeah. Well, Texas fired their coach. We'll just give the TLDR because this has already happened.
A&M's old baseball coach now going to Texas.
Yeah, Texas fired their baseball coach late in the coaching carousel, and then they brought in Jim Schlossnagle, who is A&M's coach.
Who just went to the finals.
Yes, the College World Series championship.
And lost to Tennessee.
Lost in the elimination game. So they were this close to winning it. After that game, rumors kind of got out that he was going to take the Texas job, and so a reporter from Texags, which is like their biggest,
Yeah.
website, it was like, hey, just want to like address the rumors with you head on. Like, are you going to Texas? And then he just like berated me. He's like, are you kidding me? That's a selfish question to ask. And I was like, okay. And then the next day he took the job at Texas. And I was like, okay, well, nice.
So in other words, he just didn't want to answer the question.
Yeah, you might be a scumbag.
You're a scumbag, not me.
Mm-hmm. Again, I still think he's the best coach in college baseball. Doesn't make him not a narcissist. So A&M, to fill the void, literally, tried to hire Tony Vitello of Tennessee,
who just beat them in the World Series.
Yes. Then
Also scumbag according to you.
he's a D-bag. Yeah, he's not a good person.
There you go.
And then right after that, they turned around to Brian O'Connor, who is Virginia's head coach. Then they tried to get Link Jarrett, who is Florida State's head coach. And then they tried to get Skip Johnson, who's Oklahoma's head coach. Swung and missed with all four of them.
0 for 4.
Yeah. And then eventually they were like, all right, let's just hire Michael Early, who is their hitting coach under Schlossnagle for the last 3
after
years.
trying to go outside the program, they just hired from within.
Yes, which I have been on Michael Early for a long time. I've been preaching like, hey, if you have a coaching vacancy, go out and get A&M's hitting coach, Michael Early.
There you go.
So I think,
And they did.
I think this is a great hire.
It's just their fifth option.
Yes.
Now, would the other 4 hires have been better in your opinion?
The other 4 hires would have been good hires, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
They're all very good coaches.
Fair enough. So they just did their due diligence.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you can go out and get Tony Vitello, he's a great coach.
He's just
get
a
him.
dirt bag.
Yeah. And then also, like Michael Early's like first move essentially as head coach is he went out and got Washington's head coach, and now he's their pitching coach.
Oh, wow.
He just took a sitting head coach and was like, hey, come be your pitching coach.
Wow.
Because I guess it's a better gig.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, honestly. You and me both. Our tummies are rumbling.
We really just need to bring snacks to this venture, don't we?
We should.
It's a great idea. We have like a little parcheesi spread in front of us. That sounds nice.
Parcheesi is a game.
No. Charcuterie. I
Yeah.
apologize. Shit.
Parcheesi?
You don't want to eat some parcheesi with me?
No, I'll pass on eating a board game. Call me crazy.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah. All right, and then I think the last thing that we've got to talk about is football.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit of a short episode, it looks like.
I'll be okay.
Yeah, there's just not much to talk about. It's the dog days. All right, we're just getting past it.
Here we are.
So this is some quickie news. We talked about it last week, but it did officially get passed. The NCAA has voted to allow unlimited coaches on staffs in college football. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, basically changes from you're an analyst to you're a coach. Now you can be on the field. Now you can be involved in recruiting.
Yeah.
Now you can do everything.
I mean, it's we talked about this last week.
Right.
Like there were already unlimited coaches
Just in different roles.
Yeah, as a different name.
Right.
And now they're just officially coaches.
Word.
But other coaching news is that Utah yesterday, Monday, July 1st, announced that they have a succession plan for Kyle Whittingham.
Oh, okay.
And that is their current defensive coordinator, Morgan Scalley.
What do you think about
I don't know. I mean,
defense was solid last year.
oh, the defense has been solid for years at Utah under Kyle Whittingham. So Morgan Scalley, if they think he's the guy, if they think like, oh no, we have the replacement on staff, just call your shot.
There you go.
Just be like, hey, he's our guy. Whenever Whittingham steps down, which by the way, no timetable was given
So
for Whittingham's retirement or stepping away from the program.
right. So the question is to get Morgan Scalley, is that how you say his name?
Scaley or Scally? I said Scally.
Scalley. To get Morgan Scalley to agree to this, it's got to be in the near future. Because why would you wait so long?
No, because
it's
Syracuse had like 2 failed succession plans for Jim Boeheim until it finally happened.
I'll put it this way: it's got to be within 3 years. I think.
I don't know about that.
Really, you think it's going to be Kyle Whittingham's going to be longer than 3 years?
It could be. He's in his early 60s.
Really, I thought he was like mid 60s.
I think it's early 60s. You can look it up, but like,
you might be right. I think he was like, I thought like 62, 63 is what I was thinking.
well, that's early.
I know, but
Yeah.
like,
The point is, if they feel like he's a guy, this is a great move.
64.
64. Okay, he's in mid 60s. I'll give it to you. But
We were both right.
I think you were more right.
It's okay. 3 years, 67.
I mean,
Like
well,
that Social Security.
the thing is, Mike Hopkins, he was Syracuse announced like, oh, he's going to take over for Boeheim,
Bless you.
and then Boeheim just took so long to retire that Mike Hopkins eventually was like, screw this, I'm going to Washington. I'm going to take the job at Washington. And then he was great at Washington at first, and then just got worse and worse and worse until he eventually got fired this past season.
Gotcha.
And then it wasn't until they kind of forced Boeheim into retirement that they finally replaced him with Adrian Autry. But so I don't think this is necessarily like imminent.
No.
But
I do think like
they do have it. They have it in his contract, Morgan Scalley's contract now, that when he does become the head coach, his salary gets bumped up to $5 million a year.
There you go.
And so if you want to like roll the risk of like, oh, Fresno State's got an opening, I'm gonna go take a job at Fresno State, you're only gonna be making like $2 million a year. And the thing is, if you are not like, if you're not killing it at Fresno State, and that job, I'm just using Fresno as an example, and the job opens up, Kyle Whittingham finally retires, maybe Utah doesn't want to go ahead and get you. Mm-hmm. So maybe you've lost that opportunity to A, be Utah's coach, B, make $5 million a year.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to happen next year. I think this is going to be his last year.
I don't know about that.
Here's why I say that, is that Kyle Rising's done after this year.
Okay.
I think that's probably going to be a major factor. I don't see any. They lost 2 of their quarterbacks, went to the portal as well. They don't really have any
Yeah, but
succession.
one of them was not good.
Right. I'm just saying that, like, they just don't really have a succession plan there as far as, like, the next best quarterback coming in.
I would just get a portal guy.
They could. I'm not saying they won't. But also, it's like, I could just see it being to where, like, depending on how this season goes, he could be done after this year. Plus, if you're Morgan Scalley, why agree to this if you don't know potentially at the latest when it's going to happen?
Well, because the reasons I just gave. If you want to go out and try to be a head coach immediately, like quicker,
Yeah.
if you don't kill it at that job, maybe Utah doesn't want you,
Right.
and maybe Utah is kind of his dream job.
True. Okay. Fair enough.
And so, yeah, I don't think it's a guarantee. I do think Utah's going to be great this year.
They could be very, very good. They will challenge for the Big 12 this year.
I think I'll call my shot. I think they're going to win the Big 12.
Really?
Year one, I think they're going to win the Big 12.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Sticking to football. We've got some teams here. There's a lot of teams for every year, every preseason. There's teams for one reason or another that get varying levels of hype going into the season. Sometimes it's, oh, they could win the national championship hype, or, oh, they're back hype. There's always one of those every single year. Ooh.
That was impressive.
I know. Sometimes it's hype because of a player or a coaching, whatever reason. There's hype. There's hype to throw around.
Let's see the hype.
Is
the hype real, or are we buying the hype?
It's hype season. So we'll tell you if the hype.
There's hope in the air.
Yeah.
Why? Because your team hasn't lost week 1 or week 2 and go only.
Exactly. So we're just gonna go through some teams that are getting hype for one reason or another. Talk about that hype, and then say if we believe in it or not. If we believe in these teams in the upcoming season. The very first team is Syracuse.
So you had them on the list. Why is there hype behind this team?
I mean, Kyle McCord said it straight up. He said the schedule is so favorable that there's a path to the playoff. And they have Fran Brown, who is their new head coach. They finally got rid of... I can't think of his name. He was Dino Babers. Finally got rid of Dino Babers after he was kind of
abysmal for a while.
He was just middling there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they got a new head coach who was like Georgia's top recruiter, and then he comes into Syracuse and immediately just recruits like there's no tomorrow. He just kills it in the transfer portal. They get a ton of good transfers. Kyle McCord says that they can make the playoff. That's why he went to Syracuse. Are you buying the hype?
No.
Me neither.
I don't think. No. As playoffs, no. Winning season, sure. Bowl game, sure. Playoff, no.
I think the best record that they can possibly have.
They're going to be 8-4.
Yes.
It's 8-4. I don't know where the 4 losses are. I don't know where the 8 wins are, but 8-4 is the ceiling for this team.
Yeah. Let's just go through their schedule real quick because.
Ohio win. Georgia Tech win.
No, I think they're going to lose to Georgia Tech.
Fair enough.
I'm calling it now. I think the guaranteed losses on their schedule are to NC State, Virginia Tech, and Miami.
What about Pitt?
Well, I think Georgia Tech, Pitt, and Cal. I think they could lose all of those games.
Honestly, any of their ACC games, they could lose. I don't see a gimme ACC game.
Stanford, maybe.
Maybe Stanford.
Depends on how much they improve. I like Stanford's coach, actually. And also, the other thing with this is that we don't know if Fran Brown can coach. They hired him from Georgia as a position coach. He wasn't even a coordinator. They just got him at Georgia because they were like, oh, this guy is a lights-out recruiter. That is his reputation. That's what he's done. And he's lived up to that so far. We still don't know if he can coach.
Right.
He might be a CEO type of head coach where it's like, hey, I'm just going to go get great coordinators. I'm just going to
let them manage the coordinators.
Yes, and I'm going to delegate where I need to. We don't know what type of coach he is, but he is a first-year coach. I just think their schedule is a little tougher than people were giving it credit for.
Right. I'm also a big quarterback guy. All my Ohio State friends were like, thank God Kyle McCord's gone.
I know.
Thank goodness he left.
Yeah, but you know how many
Don't
guys they had
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
But they literally had like Justin Fields, I'm blanking at Justin Fields, but like they had such a string of like solid quarterback play. And to go from that to like, if you're just a good quarterback, I think they're probably freaking out a little bit.
That's my question, though, is like, was Kyle McCord just a good quarterback? Because we've seen just good quarterbacks at Ohio State where the play around them made them look better than what they were. And so I looked at it, I was like, Kyle McCord was in, quote-unquote, the perfect situation and couldn't get it done. Now he's going to go
to... Still had 30 touchdowns, though.
Once again, there's a reason, though, that they wanted him out is because when they finally had to show what he was made up against the hard, you can put up 6-7 touchdowns against West Virginia. It doesn't mean nothing, you know? Like, so I mean, like, it's like whenever you go and like there's 7 of them right there, you know, in one game and you get 30. Where's the other for the other 12, you know? But besides the point, whenever you go from that position of being in Ohio State where it's a world-class facilities, world-class athletes, very, very top of the end program, high expectations, to then go to Syracuse, which is a step back. No one's going to argue that. And where you don't have the guy who has 5 yards of separation and you just got to put it within 3 yards of him and he's going to run. Or you don't have to throw the screen pass behind the line of scrimmage and just say, hey, Jackson Smith and Jigba, just go make a play, Where it's like, oh, he scored a touchdown when I threw the ball minus 5 yards, but it's a 50-yard pass for a touchdown, I wonder how well he's going to do there because he doesn't have those talent around him.
I think he'll be fine. Honestly, I do. I think Ohio State fans just freaked out about him because he wasn't an NFL caliber quarterback. I think that's all it is. All right. Next one. We got staying in the ACC with Virginia Tech. They are bringing back, I think, the most returning production of any team in the country.
Interesting.
That was already on their roster.
They fair last year.
They went 7-5, but the thing is, they started off either 1-3 or 1-4. So their 7-5 was like, it was very much like backloaded. They started killing teams down the stretch, and so I think they started off 1-3.
They won against Old Dominion, lost to Purdue, Rutgers, and Marshall last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, started off 1-3.
They started off 2-5.
They started off 2-5. Oh.
Yeah, their only 2 wins were Old Dominion and Pitt through 2-4. Apologies, not 2-5, and then they won against Syracuse, Wake, lost to Louisville, beat the snot out of them. Okay. I am not buying into the hype.
You don't think Virginia Tech's back?
What is back? Like Mike Vick back? No. Like what is back for Virginia Tech?
Yeah, like the Frank Beamer days.
No, they're not. They are looking at their schedule. So they got Vanderbilt to start, Marshall, Old Dominion, Rutgers. They could start off 4-0. Okay, and then they hit ACC play, and they really don't have a hard schedule.
No, they don't have that difficult a schedule.
They
play Syracuse. I think
they're 9-3.
Yeah, I don't think
if they don't slip.
I don't. They're getting some dark horse playoff buzz.
I could see it just because of their schedule.
I just don't. I don't know if they're going to play for the ACC championship. I think returning production is great, but not all returning production is the same. It's not just like a flat number of like, oh, you're returning 86% of your production. That means you're just going to be incredible.
Well, it also doesn't mean that the production's going to be better either.
Yes,
everyone's improving now.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think they will be better than last year. I think they're on the right trajectory. And I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs. I don't even think they're
9-3. I think they'll be,
I think in November I don't even think they're going to be in the conversation.
This year, right? It's 12.
12, and you just have to win your conference to get in.
Oh, like to make it to the tournament? Like make it to the
12-team field, you just have to win your conference championship.
No, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
They're going to be borderline though.
I agree. I think they're probably 8-4, 9-3.
I think they're going to improve off of what they did last year, but I don't think the hype of a playoff is going to be there for them.
All right. Next up, we have Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I think, depending on where you go, their top 3, some places have them number 1 in the transfer portal class.
Yeah.
They ended last year really strong after kind of getting off to a okay start. They've got some things going for them. They have a very, very, very good transfer class. They've got Lane Kiffin. Mm-hmm. I think pretty consensus they're a top 10 preseason team, which you have to think puts them thoroughly in the hunt for not only an at-large bid to the playoff, but for contending for the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Are you buying the hype?
Yeah.
We're in agreement right now. Me too.
Because I'm buying the hype because I'm looking at their schedule, and it's like...
It's pretty forgiving.
I mean, yeah.
It's pretty forgiving. Like, their toughest...
It's going to be Georgia.
Toughest game is definitely Georgia. Their second toughest game is at LSU.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah. I mean, their next hardest ones would probably be Kentucky, but it's at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, but it's at Ole Miss. I mean, they even have Georgia at Ole Miss. So, I mean, like... Yeah. their away SEC games are
Yeah.
literally
They've got Florida,
LSU
Arkansas, South Carolina, all on the road. Those are 3 teams.
and LSU.
Yeah. But
LSU.
those 3 teams are all coaches that are on the hot seat right now.
Yes, 1,000%.
And you can argue Shane Beamer. I don't think he should be in the hot seat necessarily.
That might be a lock. I mean, if they do what they need to do, they most definitely can.
Yeah, they don't even have to go play in the SEC championship.
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, I think I think they're going to be a top 5 team preseason.
Really?
I have top 5 in my poll.
I want them
In
to
my
be top
my
5,
ballot.
but it's like they're going to be good this year. It's just they're avoiding all the big dogs except for Georgia and the SEC, even with the newcomers in Texas.
But even then, Georgia's at home, and Georgia doesn't have Lad McConkey or Brock Bowers, so we'll see what the offense looks like.
Right.
I think it's still going to be good, but we'll see what the
well,
offense.
that's the question with Ole Miss is what's their defense going to look like? No one has any issues with Lane Kiffin's offense or questions.
They
about
did bring in solid players on defense.
I will say though, same thing happened with Jimbo Fisher and A&M. Had a #1 transfer class coming in, and it didn't translate.
Did they have #1 transfer class?
Yeah.
I know they had #1 high school recruiting classes. They did that like routinely with Jimbo.
Right, and no A&M, and also USC last year had a top in transfer class coming in with defense in Bear Alexander, and they refreshed that whole line, and it didn't translate.
That was
And
a
then-
scheme thing. They fired.
That's what I'm
Alex Grinch.
saying. So it doesn't always translate. Stars don't always translate to wins or better play.
No, I know.
You got to know how to use them.
I know.
So that's my only question mark with Ole Miss, but I'm buying the hype.
Yep. Next up, we have Rutgers. This one might be a strange one on
Yeah,
here.
why are we buying this hype? Or are we not?
Rutgers, at one point, was 6-3 last year.
Okay.
I think they just ended the year like 7-6. I could be wrong about that, but that was their best year since being in the Big Ten. They are expected to have an even better defense this year. They have Greg Schiano, who's a great defensive coach.
Right.
They also are bringing in a new quarterback, Ethan Kaliakmanis, which I called Nathan Kaliakmanis all of last year. Sorry, Ethan. But he transferred in from Minnesota. He beat out their starting quarterback for the last like 2 or 3 years, and then their starting quarterback transferred because he got beat out. So there's a lot of hype. Also, their schedule looks pretty forgiving.
They avoided all the big dogs coming in. They avoid Ohio State. They avoid Penn State. They avoid Oregon. They have Michigan State, Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, USC, UCLA, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Washington. Out of conference is Howard, Akron, and Virginia Tech, who they beat last year, by the way. So I see 2 wins out of conference. I don't see them beating Virginia Tech. I'm buying a little bit of the hype on Virginia Tech, just a little bit, but not.
Yeah, not fully.
Not
the playoff hype.
I mean, compared to Rutgers right now.
I will say this. I think Rutgers is going to be solid again. I'm not buying it.
All right, like, are they going to make a bowl game? Is what I'm trying to.
Yeah, I think they'll make a bowl game.
So Howard and Akron, they'll win.
I think their hype is exceeding just bowl game expectations. So I think their hype is like, okay, they could be like a 9-3 team.
I don't have them making a bowl.
Really?
I mean, like, they have to literally win late. They have to beat Maryland, Illinois, Michigan State, and then they have Akron and Howard. I don't see them beating Virginia Tech. Then they have to find a win between Washington, Nebraska, Wisconsin, UCLA, USC, and Minnesota. And right there, it's like maybe Nebraska, but it's at Nebraska.
They could be UCLA. They've got a new coaching staff. Who knows?
Yeah. Washington's a big question mark for me. I don't know where they are.
I think they're just going to be 500.
They have Jed Fish, though. They have a very good coach.
I know. I just think it's going to be a rough first year.
It might be. Yeah. Bowl game, no. I'm going to say no, so I'm not buying the hype.
That's interesting.
I'm going 5-7 for them.
Okay. Next up, we have Miami. Are they back? Miami. They, again, they have a ton of talent.
And they're getting talent.
They brought in maybe the best quarterback in the transfer portal in Cam Ward.
Oh.
I mean, are you buying it? Are you buying the hype? I'll say this. I just don't trust Mario Cristobal. I don't.
I mean, if you look at their games,
Lost to Rutgers in the bowl game.
they did. They did. And if I'm not buying the hype on Rutgers,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, what is considered good for Miami?
A lot of people are thinking like they could win 10 games.
No.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
10 games?
10 games.
10?
10 games.
No.
Look, I will say this.
10?
Week 1, they play at Florida.
Right.
I think that's going to be a tougher game than people are thinking.
I think it'd be a fun game.
I think it'll be a fun game, too. I think...
Billy Napier knows that he has to win this year. And that's a must-win game.
Well, I also think that... I think there's a tendency for people when, like, a coach looks kind of dead to rights before a season starts, and they're like, oh, they're just going to suck. I did it last year with West Virginia. I was like, oh, they're on a downward trajectory. I think that they're going to suck. And they turned out to be pretty good. I think they won 9 games last year. West Virginia did. I think people are going to do that a little bit this year with Florida. I think Billy Napier could still get fired, but I think that Florida's going to be better than people are thinking. So in me saying that, Florida legitimately could beat Miami week 1.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 wins?
Okay, let's go through the schedule. They got FAMU week 2. That's a win. Ball State.
Win.
South Florida, which is going to be tough, actually. South Florida, a lot of people really like South Florida's coaching staff.
Interesting.
Really like South Florida's coaching
But in
staff.
theory, Power 5 should beat a non-Power 5. In theory.
I'll give them the South Florida game.
Right.
But I think they're going to beat Virginia Tech because they just have more talent. Cal, they have more talent.
Yep.
Duke, new coaching staff. They lost a ton of their talent.
But they get Malik Murphy in the portal.
Yeah.
They replace a good quarterback with another good quarterback.
And then Wake Forest and then Syracuse.
You miss Louisville.
I'm counting their like easy wins.
Oh.
I think that's 7.
Yeah, that's a long way from 10.
Well, they just got to win 3 more between Georgia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, and I did 8, didn't I? Yeah. Between Georgia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, and Florida.
I would throw Duke in there as well.
You think Duke's a toss-up?
I think Duke is going to be a harder matchup than most people think. See, that's why I'm like, as far as like hype goes, it's like, do I think Duke will be as good as last year? No, but do I think they'll still be somewhat decent? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think they're going to lose to Florida State,
Okay.
and I think they're going to lose to Louisville.
Like the sound of that.
Georgia Tech is a toss-up. Florida's a toss-up, and both of those games are on the road.
Right.
That's the thing is 3 of their 4 toughest games are on the road, and they don't have a home field advantage. It's non-existent for Miami.
No, I don't see the hype of 10 wins. It's kind of wild.
I'm not buying that hype either.
Okay, this
All right.
next one's crazy to me.
Arizona, that's crazy to you?
Well, I mean, like, what positive has come out of Arizona recently?
They retained a lot of their roster.
Okay,
I know they lost Jed Fish.
they did.
Not a lot of people follow Jed Fish from Arizona to Washington. That's why Washington with Jed Fish is in a tricky predicament year 1 because a lot of people followed Kalen DeBoer from Washington to Alabama. Not a lot of people followed Jed Fish from Arizona to Washington. I think this could be an example of like, you know how David Shaw did really, really well at Stanford his first few years? Mm-hmm. I think it's because he just inherited a lot of what
So
Jim Harbaugh.
Arizona's like, we got something going on here. We're going to run it back. I see.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, though. Because they basically ran the Pac-12
Yeah.
surprisingly last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
Down the stretch.
Yeah,
And
they really ran it.
2 of the 3 games they lost were extremely close games against USC and Washington.
Yeah. You know what? I might buy into this hype because, honestly, they avoid Oklahoma State, and they only have Utah, really.
Kansas State. They play at Kansas State, at Utah, back-to-back weeks.
Right.
That's tough.
But have a bye. Have a bye.
They have a bye in between the weeks?
Yep, 13th, 28th.
Okay.
So they have an extra week to prepare for you.
And a day.
Yeah.
Because it looks like that Kansas State game is probably going to be on Friday.
Yeah. So they have an extra day.
That's interesting.
Also, Kansas State is their first in-conference game, so they have 2 games to figure it out and prepare for that as well. Same thing with
Kansas State is like everyone's inaugural
welcome
Big 12.
welcome to the Big 12.
Yeah.
I might buy into them, actually. You know what? The more and more you talk about it, the more and more I'm convinced. I was at first like, you know what? No, but if you said they retained a lot of their talent.
They did. They
And
retained
then looking
a lot
at their
of it.
schedule, I mean, who knows what TCU is going to do this year, what Colorado has, Utah, Kansas State. I mean, to be fair, it is.
Yeah, UCF, West Virginia.
Yeah,
Those are tough back-to-back games.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people think West Virginia's going to be a solid team this year.
Well, that's
UCF brought in a nice transfer class.
Well, good thing. I mean, there's delusion in a lot of people. So I mean, like, I don't know what to tell them.
Okay. I think they're going to be good. I don't think that they're going to win the Big 12 because I think Utah is. I just think Utah is the best team in the Big 12.
There you go.
So I don't know, 50-50 hype. All right.
I'm buying into it.
Okay. Moving on to Texas A&M.
It's interesting.
Yeah, 'cause
A lot of change.
I think Mike Elko is a great coach.
He's a good coach.
And they do have a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
But do they put it all together year one?
No. It's hard to put everything together year one.
Yeah, I mean they went 7-5 in the year that they fired Jimbo,
Mm-hmm.
and they probably lost their bowl game. I don't remember what they did.
No, there. I'll pull it up.
But so I'm gonna say no. I'm not buying the hype because I think Texas A&M is probably gonna be ranked
Jeez.
They
top 25.
forget their SEC as well too.
They sure are.
They started off last year with a loss. They beat New Mexico, lost to Miami,
Got smoked by Miami.
beat the crap out of LA Monroe, beat Auburn, beat Arkansas, barely lost to a good Alabama team. I remember that game. Barely lost to Tennessee, beat South Carolina, barely lost to Ole Miss, beat Mississippi State, beat ACU, lost to LSU, and then lost the bowl game to Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
So they played a lot of teams close. They won the games they were supposed to win, and then played close to the games that they probably could have maybe won. I mean, all their losses, 1, 2, 3, 4, every single one of their losses was to a ranked team. They didn't lose to a non-ranked team.
Miami.
Oh, apologies. Yep. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So other than Miami, they lost to all ranked teams.
Yeah. I just don't. I think they're going to get a lot of top 25 preseason buzz. I think they're probably going to be ranked around like that 21 to 25 range.
Right.
I just don't think that they're
I mean, they start off with Notre Dame. First game.
tough game.
Very tough.
Tough game. They play at Florida, which will be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Then they play Missouri, who is bringing back a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Play LSU. Play at Auburn. Then they play Texas.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be a similar year to last year record-wise.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little better, but I think it's going to be similar. So, point is, no, I'm not buying the hype. All right. Oklahoma State.
I put them here because it's like you obviously are very high on Utah and Arizona. Does Oklahoma State run it back?
Yeah.
Now that with Texas and Oklahoma gone,
I think they'll be good, yeah.
do you think they run it back? Do you think they could run the table for the Big 12?
They're in contention. I think they're one of the favorites to win the Big 12. I
agree.
think there's 4 favorites right now. Utah, Arizona, Oklahoma State, Kansas State.
I wouldn't throw Kansas State in there for me.
You serious?
Well, I mean, like Avery Johnson, hopefully will have a good year this year for them. They did lose Will Howard to Ohio State, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but still.
You were talking about how Will Howard left because Avery Johnson would start over him.
Yeah,
So if that's the case, wouldn't they be better without Will Howard?
true. Yeah,
So why is Will Howard leaving such a big deal?
it's not.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Misspoke.
Okay.
Apologies again.
I think Oklahoma State is going to be good again. They bring back their quarterback for his 7th year of college. They bring back Ollie Gordon. Defense is whatever. It's going to be what it has been. But they're just going to try to outscore teams. I think they're going to be good. I think they could potentially, I don't expect this, but they could potentially play in the Big 12 conference game, or championship game. I don't think they have a chance to win it. I just think that Utah is that good. I think Kansas State's going to be that good. And Arizona could sneak up on some teams.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'll buy the hype.
Okay.
You put this one on here. We talked about him earlier. Duke.
Yeah, Duke. I'm a big believer in Malik Murphy. It was a big transfer for them. Big get. Replaces Riley Leonard for them. I know they lost their coach, Mike Elko. I do wonder what their schedule is looking like because Texas fans were sad to see Murphy go. And so I'm just thinking it from that perspective of at least quarterback play and looking at their schedule.
I like Malik Murphy as a quarterback.
I mean, their first 4 games are pretty easy. They should start off 4-0 between Elon,
Yeah, I think they will start off
Northwestern,
4-0.
UConn, Middle Tennessee, UNC, Georgia Tech, Florida State, SMU, Miami, NC State, Virginia Tech, Wake. I mean, I could see
I think they're going to
93
start
seed.
off 4-0, and then I think they're going to lose their next 7.
Really?
Yes.
You don't see them winning a single ACC game?
No, I think they're going to beat Wake,
Oh,
potentially.
wow. You think Duke is going to be that bad this year?
That doesn't look like a favorable schedule.
Really?
I know North Carolina's not going to be as good as they were the last couple of years.
I mean,
I think they're still
sure,
going to be
Florida
Duke.
State, Miami.
Georgia Tech, I think, is going to be Duke.
Florida State, Miami, SMU is going to be tough. Virginia Tech might be a little bit tough, but
NC State.
okay. I mean, Georgia Tech maybe. Georgia Tech and Wake. Okay.
Consider me completely off Duke's bandwagon for football this upcoming
You don't
season.
think do you think they make a bowl?
No. Unless there are not enough teams that go 6-6 and they start accepting
No.
5-7 teams.
Do they get 6 wins?
No.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
I just don't see it.
All right, and last but not least, I added them here
We got
because
Kentucky.
locally they were talking about how this is a very deep quarterback room to where if one quarterback's not performing well, they could, like Brock Vandegrift, they can bring in another one.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't buy that for 1 second.
Really?
No, not that part. Here's the thing. I think Kentucky.
They've had a history of poor quarterback play where they couldn't really pull a guy because they didn't really have someone in the wings.
Yeah.
Now they kind of do.
Do they?
little
Who's their
bit, yeah.
backup?
Let me look. I honestly don't know their names off the top
Look,
of my
I'm
head.
going to pull up Kentucky's schedule because it all depends on Brock Vandegrift. Everything depends on Brock Vandegrift. They are going to have a good defense. They brought in some great transfers.
Bo Allen is their backup, a senior transfer from Georgia Southern.
Oh, Bo Allen. Yeah. Bo Allen, he was actually okay last year. He threw,
And then they got a
I think Bo Allen threw the most interceptions in college football. That's not an exaggeration.
Okay, fair enough.
So, no, I do not think they have the deepest quarterback room that they've ever had.
Hey, okay.
Look, they play Southern Miss week 1. That's a win. They play.
South Carolina.
Let's go through the wins.
Okay.
Southern Miss. I think they're going to beat South Carolina. I think they're going to snap the
I agree with that.
2-year losing streak to them.
Ohio, yes.
Ohio, yes. Vandy,
Vanderbilt,
yes.
Florida, it's at Florida, but
I'm
possibly.
gonna just say I'm gonna skip Florida because I've been talking about them. I think they're gonna be better than people think. And then Murray State. I think that's 5 guaranteed wins. And then the teams that they could beat: Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Louisville.
Yeah, I agree.
So 5 guaranteed wins, 4 toss-ups, and I think 3 games that they don't have any chance to win.
I mean, like they're literally playing 3. You could argue top 5 teams in Georgia, Ole Miss, and Texas.
Yes.
All teams are vying for a playoff spot if it was a old school fashion of 4.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, they definitely their ceiling is 9-3. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Their floor is 5-7.
Floor 5. Yeah. I mean, that seems kind of low, but I guess when you think about it, they're getting rid of divisions. Like, that's what
Yeah.
helped Kentucky
Yeah, because
grow into what they are, because
only
they
had
got to play
Georgia.
the East.
They only had Georgia.
Well, for
No, it was Bama. They only had Bama in their division, right?
No, Bama was not in their division. Georgia was in their division.
Okay, it
But
was
the thing
Georgia.
is, until recently, Georgia was not
All right.
the Georgia that they were. They got an easy SEC East, and kind of didn't take advantage of it. And now SEC East is not a thing. It all depends on Brock Vandagriff. If Brock Vandagriff is the 5-star quarterback out of high school that people thought he would be, yeah, they're going to easily beat Auburn. They're going to easily beat Florida. And then they're going to probably easily beat Louisville. And they'll have a chance against Tennessee.
Yep.
I just don't think they're going to do better than 8-4. I feel like 8-4 is their ceiling because I think Tennessee could be very good this year. I think Nico Yamaleava could be very good.
Could be.
Those are all our teams.
We're betting on those
That
top
went
5.
longer than I thought it would.
Yeah. All right. So now that you named the teams, now what we're going to do is I need you to name the top 10 overall teams on, see if you agree with college football in the overall teams. Hold on, let me find it. Toughest places to play, offense, defense.
Yeah. By the way, this is the top 10 overall teams in EA football.
EA football, and I want to see if you agree with them. So
I'm just guessing who I think are the top 10 teams.
go for
not
it.
who I actually think are the 10 best teams. Because my top 10 going to be
it's
different.
going to be different, right?
Trust me. It's very different.
Oh, you already know it. So these are the power rankings. All right. Who is number 1?
I'll go down the list because I feel pretty confident about the top 5. I feel less confident about 6 through 10.
Go for it.
Okay. In order: Georgia, Ohio State.
Here, I'll just do, instead of you doing that, I'm going to tell you if you get it right.
Okay, Georgia.
Correct.
Yeah, easy.
95 overall.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's Georgia. They're gonna be very good. Ohio State.
93 overall. Number 2.
Yep. There we go. Oregon.
Number 3, 93
Yeah, 3 for
overall.
3. Texas.
Very close. 92 overall. 5th.
5th.
5th. They're not 4th.
Okay. All right. That's shocking. Well, my number 5 was Alabama.
Alabama, number 4. 92 overall as well.
Okay.
Now we got to drop off. Next overall is 90 overall, number 6.
I went with Michigan.
Michigan, 11th
Okay.
at 88.
Okay. So I was wrong about Michigan. Okay. Number 7 for me was Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is number 7.
Okay.
That's 90 overall.
Ooh.
I will say number 6, I don't think you'll get.
Oh, it's probably Clemson, isn't it?
Clemson, number 6, 90 overall.
Clemson was not on my list. They have talent. It's just not. It's not old talent.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Number 8,
I put Ole Miss at number 8.
Ole Miss, number 15,
Okay.
88 overall.
All right. All right. My number 9, I put Florida State.
Florida State, 12th,
12th,
88
okay.
overall.
And you know what? I'm going to change my number 10 on the
Go
spot.
for it.
I originally had Missouri. I'm going to change it to LSU.
LSU, number 8 overall,
Yeah.
90 overall. Missouri, not in the top 25.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So 9 and 10, both 88 overalls, the same as Ole Miss is 15, 88 overall, but they're ranked 9 and 10 off the power rankings.
Okay.
Would you like any hints?
I'm going to go ahead and say one of them is Penn State.
Correct, number 9,
Number 9 is
88
Penn State.
overall.
Okay.
And number
okay,
10.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Utah?
Correct, number
yeah.
10.
See, my rationale behind putting Florida State in there was like, I don't think they're just going to go straight SEC Big Ten.
No, they did not.
That's why. But I think it's going to be majority SEC Big Ten.
Now here's another fun one for you. I know you won't agree with this, but I
Yeah.
think it'll be fun. So also in the game, they have the toughest places to play.
Yeah.
They do a top 25
I
of
saw
that.
I saw the list. I remember who's number 1. Number 1 is Kyle Field, right?
It is A&M.
And then I heard some people talking about this. Kyle Field is number 1, which makes sense. They've got a massive stadium.
Okay. Yeah,
Massive.
the home of the 12th man.
Home of the 12th man. Have they been doing that longer than Seattle, the Seahawks?
The 12th man's been around since like the 50s, I want to say, for A&M, as far as like the
That's
cheers.
definitely longer than
So-
that's definitely longer than Seattle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know A&M's number 1. I remember Alabama's up there because number 2.
Brian and Denny Stadium, number 2.
LSU's got to be up there.
Number 3, Tiger
Yep.
Stadium,
Look
home
at
to
that.
Death
Look
Valley.
at that.
Number 4,
Number 4? That's a good question. Is Georgia up there?
Georgia, number 5.
Okay.
Sanford Stadium.
Okay. Ooh, number 4. Who is number 4? Is it Ohio State?
Ohio Stadium, number 4. Ohio State.
There you go.
You got 6 through 10 left.
I'm still guessing. Okay, I'm gonna say Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is number 8. Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium.
Okay, Oklahoma's up there. Is the big house in there, Michigan?
Michigan is unfortunately a quiet house. It is not.
It's actually, that's kind of the joke, is that it's the quietest group of 100,000 people you've ever seen.
It is 16th Michigan Stadium.
Michigan, I believe, is the biggest stadium in all of college football.
It's yep.
Not the rowdiest crowd.
Third largest stadium in the world.
Oh, didn't know that.
It's behind a one in India and one in North Korea.
North Korea.
I'm not joking either. I think
No,
it's
I
just,
believe it is.
North Korea, I think, has the largest. I think it's just so that they can say it. But
That's
anyway,
probably exactly what it is.
so you got
Is Texas in there?
Texas is
the way you're scrolling
number
now.
19th. Darrell K. Royal is 19th. So you still got 6, 7, 9, and 10.
What about Notre Dame?
Notre Dame is
No, you're scrolling.
21. Notre
Okay.
Dame Stadium.
Oregon.
No, 11th.
Oh, just missed.
Autzen Stadium. I'll give you hints.
Yeah,
Think
go
of traditions. Think of like big games or big things that they do. I'll give you a hint. If you remember the short I sent you, they're in here. 2 of them are.
Clemson?
No.
Do you mean the
Clemson's
one that
12.
you sent recently?
Yeah, I
I
just
haven't
sent
watched it yet.
Oh, really? You haven't watched it? Damn.
Sorry about that.
No worries. All
Sorry to
right.
call you out on camera here. Tennessee?
No. All right. I'll give you a hint.
Iowa.
Hold on. I'll give you some hints. You have 2 Big Ten schools, 1 ACC school, and 1 SEC school.
Florida State.
Florida State is on there at number 9, Doak S. Campbell Stadium.
What'd you call it?
DOAK, Doak S. Campbell Stadium. It's Doak S. Dot Campbell.
Okay, I thought you were saying doke ass.
No,
I was like, what is
Doak
this
S.
animosity to Florida State?
All right, so you got 6, 7, and 10 left.
Okay, 2 Big Ten, 1 SEC.
Yes.
What
game plays Mo
Auburn?
Bamba?
Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah.
Beaver
It's
Stadium.
just telling me. Why is it Penn State's Beaver Stadium?
Beaver Stadium. Beaver.
Why?
It just is.
Okay. I know they also call it Happy Valley.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me.
That's also like Tiger Stadium, Death Valley.
Dude, I have no clue.
Okay.
Big Ten and SEC.
Okay, one of them for the Big Ten, they do a fourth quarter tradition that gets the crowd loud.
Wisconsin?
Yep, jump around. Absolutely. Camp Randall Stadium.
Okay.
And last one's number 10, SEC school. They have a very famous gesture. I don't know how else to put it.
They just flip everyone off?
Sort of. They do something with their hands.
Oh, is it Florida?
It is Florida.
Okay.
Ben Hill Griffin Stadium.
Sort of.
The swamp. I mean, it's a chomp.
It's not flipping someone off, though.
I said gesture. I didn't say flipping them off.
You said sort of to that.
I said sort of. They do a gesture.
All right.
But yeah, they're the top 10 toughest places to play and the top 10 offenses. Do you agree with that list? Do you not
Is
agree
that the
with
offenses or top 10 teams overall?
So that was the top 10 teams overall.
Yeah, okay. I think here's what I can say about the top 10 teams overall. I don't think those are the 10 best teams, but I think talent-wise, I think sometimes there's teams with better talent than their coaching. I.e. Notre Dame at 7.
Or Clemson at 6.
Yeah.
Ole Miss at 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I can get behind it. I can dig it, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. You got anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, that was our episode. We're in the dog days of summer. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.